Presented by Church Tech U, it's the ProPresenter Show. On today's show, how to control devices that only Companion can control, but do it with ProPresenter 7. Hi, and welcome again to the ProPresenter Show. This is the show where I help you learn all about ProPresenter. My name's Paul Alan Clifford. And before we get started, if you've always wanted to be able to control your switcher or other devices that ProPresenter can't control, but do it from ProPresenter, go ahead and like, subscribe, give me a thumbs up, all that fun stuff. So this is something that one of the people in the ProPresenter users group came up with, and at first it took me just a minute to figure out exactly how to do it, but once I did, and I'm going to show you how, it has revolutionized how I use ProPresenter. So let's head over to my computer and I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about. So here we are in ProPresenter 7. Notice this is the Mac version. That's very important. Right now, Renewed Vision doesn't have one of the little pieces that you need on the Windows version for this to work. So just keep that in mind. If you're on Windows, this isn't going to work, at least not as of February 1st, 2022. Maybe something will change. I might figure out another way to do it too. But this is the way I'm doing it on a Mac. So first off, we need Companion. Now, if you haven't heard of Companion, it's software that controls a Stream Deck. Now, you might think, well, I don't have a Stream Deck. To do this trick, you don't need a Stream Deck, which is pretty cool. So here we are in Companion. You can get it by going to bitfocus.io, signing up, downloading it, etc. So this is where you get it. Once you get it and install it, this is the interface. And actually, the first one will be connections here. You'll need to add something that you want to control. In this case, you might see a little experiment I'm working on that I haven't quite gotten to work yet. But let's look at the ATEM Television Studio here. This is the video switcher that I'm using right now. It's how I keyed my graphics earlier. It's how I'm doing the picture-in-picture right now. That's what does all this. So what I want to do is, first off, let me go into Surfaces here, actually Buttons, and I can go through the different pages of buttons, and I've got a separate tutorial about how to do this with ProPresenter. But one thing that you'll notice is that I've got ATEM buttons. This is on a smaller Stream Deck, but I've also got one that is a larger one. So if we go to page 10, this is the one that I have at my desk, which has all these. So basically what you can do is you can tell ProPresenter to send a command to Companion that will push one of these buttons. But it doesn't have to be a hardware button. It could also be a virtual button. So there's an emulator that will automatically show up. So once you download this, install it, get it working, then you can do that. So if we were to look at the emulator here, notice that looks just like a Stream Deck. And if I hit cut here, actually, let me click key 1 here, because that will make my little picture-in-picture go away. And then I can click it again and it comes back. So I don't have to have a Stream Deck to use Companion. I could just do this from another computer, from an iPad, even from a phone if I wanted to. So this is kind of the interface of what it looks like. But we go back here And in order for this to work, I need to go into Settings and then scroll down to Rosstalk right here and check Enabled for the Rosstalk listener. Now that's really important. Let's scroll back up, and I've already clicked here because this tells me how to do it. So what I need to do is I need to add a trigger on port 7788, and then the trigger will be like this. The page number of the buttons. So if I go back here to buttons, this is page 10, okay? And then the button number. I could also do, let's say, page 3. So if I click on this, it actually will show you the button number and everything. I'm trying to see where that is, but they're numbered from the top. Oh, there we go. Just put your mouse over it and let it show you. So this is page 3, button 19. This is page 3, button 22. Whatever. So whatever button you're mousing over, that will show you what you need to do. So you do, instead of 3.19, you would do 3:19. So let's make this picture-in-picture that I have. Let's just create a toggle for it. So I need to find out where I have that button. So there it is. That is 418. So let's, actually that's not it. That's it. That's the one. 518. So that is the button that I want to activate. So what I can do is go back into ProPresenter. Remember, 518. Okay. So I'm going to go back into ProPresenter. First thing I need to do is add a communications device. So if I go into ProPresenter and then Preferences, and then let's go to Devices. Notice that I've already done this. This is on the same computer, so the IP address is 127.0.0.1:7788. So I can add new Rosstalk devices by clicking here and selecting Rosstalk. That won't be available on the Windows version, so that's why this has to be the Mac version. And so what I do is I do that. I want it on the network, and I want this to be a controller, not a device. The rest of these don't really matter, but notice that it has the port 7788, which I want, and then I would put my IP address in here, 127.0.0.1. You could also put in the IP address of this particular computer, or let's say you had Companion running on another computer. You could put in the IP address of that computer and that port number, and that would work as well. I'm going to click back here and get rid of this because I've already got one that's totally working, and I can click connect here to connected if that was my first one. But as I say, I've got one that's already working. So right now, ProPresenter will be able to send a command from itself over to Companion, and then Companion will do whatever is on the button. So let's close that out, and I think the best way to do this is to add a macro here. So I've already added one. I just click the plus button up here. And it doesn't have anything on it. I just called it pip toggle because it's going to toggle on and off the pip here. Right click, and I need to add a device to it. So I'm going to add an action right here, and then we're going to go down to communication, then crosstalk. Now you might think, since I'm trying to control a switcher, I would want to use one of these. Nope, none of those. Unless it was raw switcher, then that's totally different. What I want to do is I want to click on custom control right here. So I'm going to click on that, and right now it may or may not be obvious to you where I add in my 5:18. It's right here. You have to click right in here. It took me a long time to find exactly where that was. So 5:18. And now that should work. So it should be the case that when I click on this, my picture-in-picture shows back up down here. It does. And if I click on it again, it goes away. So basically what I'm doing is I'm telling Companion to send the command to my ATEM, and then I'm getting that to work. Now I can absolutely drag that up onto a slide if I wanted to. I could have it fire up at startup if I wanted to. I could do any of that stuff. So in fact, that's what I've been doing the entire time here, is I've been controlling this not with my Stream Deck directly, but through ProPresenter 7. So you can start to imagine what devices you can control that formerly you couldn't, because you had MIDI control, but not every device has MIDI. So now you can control things that have network control. If there's a module in Companion, I've seen smart light bulbs in there, so maybe you want to turn on a light at a certain time and it's not one that's running through your lighting board. Well, you can do that in Companion as well. So really you've got a lot of control. It could be that you've got a projector that's even supported in Companion, and now you can control turning the projector on and off, or maybe just shuttering the lens, or doing any number of things that used to be difficult to do before. Now you can do it all in ProPresenter 7. If you like this content, I bet you'd like my ProPresenter 7 Quick Start course. So head on over to TDM.fyi/Pro7Quick. Give me your name and email address so that I can make a login for you. And then you can take that class at your leisure. Until next time, this is Paul Alan Clifford from TrinityDigitalMedia.com and ChurchTechU.com, reminding you to go out and change eternity.